Hey everybody, yeah, I'm back. I just thought of a couple more instances with little kids. Um, I'm gonna start with right after surgery. It was the summer after, so I was pretty much healed up, and I was wearing a tank top because it was the summer in Louisiana heat. Well, my godson, who was about 4 at the time, he sees part of my scar sticking out from under the tank top. And he goes, "Nanny, why do you have a cut on your back?" And so I was like, "Well, sweetie, it's not a cut. It's called a scar. It was a cut from Nanny having surgery." And I said Nanny's back was sick and the doctors had to cut her open to fix the sickness. And he goes, "Why was your back sick?" And I said, "'Cause Nanny was born that way." "Why were you born that way?" So I was like, "You know what? When you die and go to heaven, you can ask God that question." "What's heaven?" "Oh, God, kid, you're hurting Nanny's head. Go play." Another instance was another cousin, because my godson was also my cousin. But another cousin who was 4, it was around Christmas, and he was sitting behind me on the couch because I don't sit all the way back. So he's sitting behind me, clinging to me on the couch, and I feel him touching my back. And then all of a sudden I feel pack against my back. And I know what he's thinking. He's thinking he's trying to push it back in. I knew that was his thought. Somehow I knew that was his thought. Just based on him touching it at first and feeling it, and then all of a sudden hitting it. Well, his mom sees, because I'm not telling him nothing. I'm just, and his mom's like, "Mason!" Yeah, his name's Mason. "Don't hit Jamie!" And I'm like, "Christine, no." First he's crying. He's like, "I'm trying to push your backpack in." And so I hug him and I'm tattling him, And I said, "Christine," I knew what he was thinking. I knew why he was doing it. I didn't have the heart to stop him because I knew it was coming from a place of good intention. It was just a childlike innocence and child logic, So I'm tattling him, and so that Christmas he got an explanation of why cousin Jamie's back sticks out. Yeah, the hardest instance was when I was 5. I went in the grocery store with Mom, and this is where the self-consciousness all started from. Anyway, I was about 5, and I went in the grocery store with Mom because as a little kid, and even to this day, I'm pretty much stuck up Mom's butt. I do my own thing, but a lot of times, if I'm feeling up to it, I go with Mom wherever she's going. Not so much anymore, but still occasionally. Anyway, so I was hurting that day, and okay, kids, listen up. Back in the old days of the 90s, you could rent movies instead of streaming on Netflix or Disney Plus or YouTube or any of those other streaming sites. You could actually go to a store and rent the movie for a few days and then bring it back. Okay? Well, this grocery store that me and Mom went to had a movie rental section, and I was hurting that day, so I didn't feel like walking up and down the aisles with Mom, and I felt I was too old to be put in the basket. Anyway, so I said, "Mom, can I stay right here and look at the movies to rent a movie once you check out and everything? Just have an idea of what I want to rent." So she said okay and left me right there because You didn't have to worry about child sex trafficking back then or getting kidnapped nearly as much. Yes, they had some kidnapping, but it wasn't as rampant as it is now. You could actually leave kids in certain areas of stores back in the day. Anyway, enough rambling about the old days, which the 90s don't feel like that long ago, but when bad times happen, it feels like eons ago. But enough rambling about that. So, the movie rental section's right there in the front of the store. So when you come in through the entrance, there's the movie rental area, and then you turn and go down the aisles. Anyway, so my back's to the door while I'm looking at movies. This little girl, who's probably a year younger than me, she's probably about 3 or 4, comes in with her mom. And my back is facing the door, so she sees my back. And looking at me now, my back's not that bad, but I had surgery. I mean, my back, think Hunchback of Notre Dame if you've ever seen that movie. My head was always like this. My shoulders were always like this. Yeah, I was pretty screwed up, hunched up. And that was actually a nickname the bullies liked to use when I was a kid. But moving on. Anyway, this little girl comes in and she sees my back sticking out and all hunched up. And I hear in this little kid voice, "Mommy, look, the monster mannequin. It's scary." So I turn around looking for a movie poster or one of those cardboard cutout stand-ups or something. And when I turn around, this little girl's finger is right in my direction. Yeah. And before this, I didn't know I was different. I mean, I was pretty sheltered. My parents treated me just like my able-bodied brother. I had some chores of what I could and couldn't do. I was held accountable for my grades and behaviors. I was punished. So I was treated just like everybody else, and I was also in Girl Scouts and extracurricular activities. So I didn't know I was different. Well, the little girl said what she said. The mom looks all embarrassed. She quickly rushes the little girl further into the store toward the aisles. And all I hear is, "Mommy, I wanted to rent a movie!" I mean, I'm 5. So the mom doesn't apologize. The mom doesn't check on me. Nothing. She's just worried about her own embarrassment, which totally understandable. But I'm a kid. And it's like the glass of my shelter, of my world that was sheltered, just cracked. And these movies at the movie rental area had a glass case. So I'm looking at my reflection in the glass, and I see my back sticking out. And so I finally start thinking. I'm like, yeah, and I start naming my friends. So-and-so's back doesn't do that. So-and-so's back isn't like that. I guess it is kind of scary looking. So, after that incident, I really wasn't in the mood to rent a movie anymore. Gee, can't imagine why. Anyway, there was a little bench area. And Mom was still shopping, so I wasn't about to go try to track her down the aisle. Well, I go sit on the bench, and I can't do it anymore because I'm fused from the neck to almost to my butt with rods from my surgery. But I hiked my knees up to my chest and just buried my head. And I'm crying because my whole world is just shattered. And culture shock. So finally, I feel Mom. Well, I didn't know it was Mom because I had my head hiding. Touch me, and I look up, and I mean tears, and I mean all these questions just started like a floodgate. I was like, why is my back like this? Why am I different? Why God made me like this? You know? And, so, I had never asked those questions before. So, yeah, that is where all the self-consciousness started. And then, when bullying started around 4th grade, 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, once I got to high school, it was a little better. But, yeah, the bullying really didn't help. I'm gonna be brutally honest. So, if you're kind of have a trigger, in junior high, I did contemplate unaliving myself. I never tried it, but I did go through the thought process. And I would talk myself through every step. I was like, well, I'm too short to hang myself. Can't pull the trigger of a gun because I have no muscle strength. I don't like blood. So, and I don't like pain, so I'm not going to cut myself. I don't like being sick, so I'm not going to OD on drugs. I mean, so, yeah, it's like, okay, God, I guess you're not going to give me an easy way out of this life, so might as well suck it up. But, yeah, there were many a time I didn't lock my door because I did not get a lock on my bedroom door until I was an adult. Because my dad was like, no, you're not getting a lock on the door. And it's like, Dad, my windows are painted shut. If you're worried about me sneaking a boy in here, yeah. And plus, who would date me? Yeah, I used to say I was ugly. I used to say nobody would date a disabled freak. Yeah. Because I had all those bullying words in my mind. And surgery in 2012 did kind of help with the confidence, because they took my back, which was 2 curves actually, so it wasn't scoliosis anymore. It was kyphoscoliosis. Kyphosis is in multiple curves, and yeah. If you want to find out about my whole medical journey, which, warning, it's uncensored and has a few curse words fly by accident, it's on my YouTube channel. Just look for the video of me wearing this shirt. It's not much cursing. It's just a few little F-bombs here and there. And it's toward the middle and end. But anyway, after surgery, because they took my spine, which was a total of 159-degree curvature, and brought it down to 60 degrees. So I was a whole lot straighter. I finally had a neck that you could see, which this is a trach. I had to have trach after surgery. Again, you can check out the medical story on my YouTube. Anyway, after surgery, I started getting into doing makeup and trying to be girly, wearing skirts and short shorts. Not booty shorts, but shorter than what I used to wear. I had very good years up until 2017, where I had a wound on my back start up, and turns out I had a broken rod that was almost poking through the skin. So the wound wouldn't close all the way. That followed that for 2 years. And so I had to have another surgery to fix that broken rod in 2019. And ever since then, my pain has been, especially when the weather changes. I have pain every day, but the worst is when the weather changes. If rain's coming or if it's cold, yeah. More than likely, I'm gonna be bedridden with pain medicine in my system. Yeah. But I do miss my good years, which was right after surgery, once I fully recovered. So 2013 to right before I got my wound, which was I got the wound in 2017. So a month, I want to say I got the wound in May of 2017. So up until April of 2017, I was cooking, which I love cooking. I love cooking. I don't even follow a recipe. And I was driving a whole lot more, going to college. It's just after this last surgery, my stamina's been, I mean, I still have good days, but it's not like my good years. I'm hopeful that I'll get my stamina back. Anyway, that's all I want to talk about. So y'all have a good day.